Howdy folks, I'm just going to do a quick little talk about vintage guitars and guitars in general for 5 minutes. Gibson, yeah, my favorite company. Anyways, this is a vintage 1961 Melody Maker. 3/4 junior, or not junior, 3/4, yeah. Single coil pickup, one piece mahogany body, Brazilian rosewood fingerboard. This thing is sick. I mean, it's not even plugged in and it sounds great. Excuse me. Anyways, pardon me. Basically, this is like a double cut. Don't think they made this model, the 3/4, for very many years. This is all original. Lots of lacquer checking. Sounds amazing. I mean, it's just to die for. Old Wood by Gibson. So I'm a huge fan of old guitars, and the question is, old or new? For me, old. Reason? Sound, collectability, and when you have an old guitar like this, this came from America a while ago. I'm trying to think where. Got so many guitars, can't remember from where. You don't know who owned it. It came from a shop, but you think of the history. I mean, I don't know the history, but some cool cat in the 60s, because this is 61, would have played this. It could have been a young person. It could have been an old blues player. You know, this could have been played in Chicago or New York. I think it came from Chicago. But you can't beat the old wood. You think if this is made in 1961, the wood's got to be at least 50 to 100 years old or even older. And whereas new guitars, they're not built the same. The wood isn't the same. The electronics are all cheap and Chinese, and it's just all mass produced, and it just doesn't sound the same. I don't care what you say, you cannot beat old wood, and that's old wood. Look at that. And you know, the electronics, the pickups, it was all handmade, and you know, was done with materials that they don't have today, and stuff like that. Yeah, maybe they didn't last as good. Yeah, there's lots of lacquer checking. What do you expect for a guitar that's like 53 years old or whatever it is, over 50 years old? They don't sound like new guitars. They don't play like them either. You can just hear the tone, even not even plugged in. And like I said, my whole thing is vintage guitars are the way to go. It's an investment too. You're never going to lose your money. If you read up or have the vintage guitar book or whatever it is, like I buy every year, you'll learn about how much guitars are worth and collectability. Obviously, all original is the way to go, and better condition is worth more. But you know, you buy a new guitar. I mean, really? I mean, there's some okay new guitars, but you got to think history, man. Like, who owned this guitar? Like, back in the day, could have been someone famous, and they gave it to someone else, or sold it, or traded it, and what have you. But vintage guitars, I have quite a few from the 60s Gibsons and 66 Fender. And whenever I compare them to newer guitars, there is no comparison. There is no comparison at all. And it just brings out a, for me, it brings out a whole new playing style and vibe, and makes me improvise more and do things that I probably wouldn't do in a new guitar. I become really inspired when I pick up an old guitar, even looking at it. And I'm fascinated by guitars, especially old ones. And you know, the history of it, of, you know, when they built it and for how long and what players used them. I know Pat Travers played the full-size Melody Maker and Joan Jett, and these are killer guitars. You know, for the money, these things are the best thing out there. And so yeah, that's pretty much it. For old guitars, man, you know, like say for me, I used to collect a lot of shred guitars, like Ibanez Gems and stuff, and you know, ESPs. I still like my ESP guitars. They're solid. They're really well made. Ibanez are hit and miss, and a lot of them seem like toys compared to Gibsons and Fenders. And I guess because I grew or was in the 80s rocking out and all that went through the 80s, that I liked all those type of guitars. But as the last 10 years or so, maybe 15 years, I've gotten into vintage guitars, and it's just, they're just so cool. It's like, you know, you don't see a lot of vintage guitars around. You know, it's not like every day you see, hey man, I like your 59 Les Paul or 55 Les Paul Special or Junior or whatever it is, or 60s Junior. You don't see them all very often, especially in the United Kingdom. So having them and playing them and having, you know, the accessibility to play them is very cool. And, you know, it's like, you just gotta like what you love or love what you like, and you like new guitars, fair play to you. I mean, I've got a few newer Les Paul custom shops and stuff, and Fender stuff, and it's good. Some of it is really, really good, and some of the relic stuff is good too by Gibson and Fender. You know, but not all their stuff is good, and you can never, ever really duplicate this, which is a 1961 Gibson Melody Maker 3/4. I mean, how sexy and cool is this? Anyways, I'm a vintage guy all the way. Always have not been, but I always will be now. And it's like the Nickelback song, a bus full of old guitars. And yeah. Think about this bad boy, little bad boy. It really holds the intonation and tuning well. Anyways, Melody Makers are fantastic, and vintage guitars rule. Thanks for coming out. If you have any questions, fire away, send me a message, and I'll get back to you. Thanks for coming out.